Today, as we near the midway point of the Advent season, we as a church celebrate this wonderful solemnity of the Immaculate Conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And this is a solemnity of great awe and hope for us. For the Immaculate Conception of Mary is the way that God chose to take us from the bad news of the shameful fall of Adam and Eve to the good news of our triumphant redemption through the new Adam, Jesus Christ, who comes to us from the new Eve, the Immaculate Mother Mary. The first reading narrates for us the aftermath of the fall of our first parents. Adam and Eve, they were deceived by Satan to eat the forbidden fruit by making them doubt God's paternal love for them. He drove a wedge between God and humanity by telling them the lie that God didn't want them to eat the forbidden fruit, because if they did, they would be like gods, and God would be threatened by that. So in their doubt of the Father's love and the desire to be like gods, they disobeyed His will, and they subsequently fell from grace. And the reading reveals not that they became like God-like, but that they became afraid and aware of their nakedness. For the first time, fear and shame entered the world of our human experience. And things get worse from there. And when God asks them if they had eaten of the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, Adam denies responsibility and introduces the blame game. The woman, he says, whom you put here with me, she gave me fruit from the tree, and so I ate it. Does that sound familiar? Adam was given a responsibility to work and to guard. He was called to protect his wife, Eve, from all harm. Instead, he is the original deadbeat dad who passively allows the serpent to deceive his bride, and then he deflects all responsibility to everyone else but himself. And when God turns to Eve to explain her side of the story, she says, "The serpent tricked me into it, so I ate it." The devil deceived her by appealing to her threefold concupiscence: the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. For the apple looked good, she hoped it tasted good, and she wanted to do things her way instead of God's way. And although paradise seems lost by the original sin of our first parents, hope is not lost. For God declares the good news at the onset of the fall with a declaration that is called the Proto-Evangelium, or the first gospel, when He says these words to Satan. He says, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers, and he will strike at your head, while you strike at his heel." The woman whom God promises to transform the bad news of the shameful fall into the good news of Jesus Christ, who crushes the head of Satan, is the Mother of God, whom the archangel greets with a greeting like never before in our gospel today. "Hail, full of grace," meaning that she was, is, and always will be full of the grace of Jesus, even from the moment of her conception. God prevented the stain of original sin from touching Mary as a fulfillment of the promise of the good news that He would put enmity between Satan and the woman. The first reading ends with the statement that Eve was the mother of all the living. And because God the Father willed that His beloved Son be born of the creature Mary, Mary becomes the new Eve, the new mother of all the living. Now, St. Anselm says that through the motherhood of Mary, God begot His Son in time, who is by nature Son of God and Son of Mary, because God, who created all things from nothing, would not remake His ruined creation without Mary. God, who created all things from nothing, would not remake His ruined creation without Mary. Although God didn't have to, He chose Mary before the foundation of the world, to be holy and without blemish, before Him to be the Immaculate Mother of Jesus. And by the grace of adoption, we too, like Jesus, have received the great gift of calling Mary our mother. She is our mother because she said yes to becoming the mother of the Son of God. Let it be done to me according to your word. She will to do things God's way. And although we are not immaculately conceived, we have hope, because God delivered on His promise that He would give us a way out of the bad news of the shameful fall to the good news of the triumphant redemption of Jesus Christ. And he gave us new birth as his adopted sons and daughters through Jesus Christ, who came to us through the Immaculate Mother. So in our struggle with our threefold concupiscence, with the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life, let us not be discouraged, but encouraged as we entrust ourselves to the woman and the mother who God himself entrusted himself with. For she will show us the way of casting off the old Adam and Eve in us, so that we may triumphantly rise to full stature in Christ Jesus.